So yan, magandang araw sa inyong lahat dyan sa Bataan. I am very excited for this talk. First and foremost, I want to thank the UP Peninsulares for inviting me as one of your resource speakers for this event. It is actually one of my visions and one of my missions in life to really influence people of the next generation, when it comes to agriculture, when it comes to discovering career pathways that they can take in the field of agriculture. This is actually one of my missions. That is why I also started my advocacy on TikTok, on YouTube, ganyan, which I will be discussing later. So, yan, thank you very much sa UP Peninsulares for inviting me. And yeah, as you can see here in my first slide, my talk is entitled Sprouting Up. And meron diyang tatlong dots, which means it is not yet finished. It is something that is still, loading. And that is life in general. That is agriculture in general. We are developing. We are still on the process of doing things. I think that this talk will also be like this title. Now, after this, it will not end, but instead, it will perhaps start some things on you, lalo na sa mga estudyanteng nandiyan sa Bataan. So, we are familiar with our country, the Philippines, as an agricultural country. Perhaps isa sa inyo nakagamit na siguro sa isang essay na being an agricultural country or what. 'Di ba? Parang lagi natin naririnig na ang Pilipinas ay isang agrikulturang bansa. Pero tignan muna natin how the facts speak. Let me start my presentation by presenting a lot of statistics na pwede nating pagbatayan further sa aking talk. Yan. So, titignan natin sila isa-isa. Let us start by looking at nasaan nga ba ang agrikultura sa ating ekonomiya. Yes, we always say that the Philippines is an agricultural country, but if we will look at this data from the Philippine Statistics Authority, ang growth rate ng agriculture among other major contributors in our GDP, ang ating gross domestic product, ay negative. So industry grew 4.8% for the last quarter of 2022. Sa services naman, 9.8%. Pinakamalaking growth sa services. And ang agrikultura, negative 0.3. So nasaan ba ang agrikultura sa ating bansa? Ang isa pang batayan ay ang gross domestic product or ang GDP. Ano nga ba ang GDP? Gross domestic product is the measure of all the total value of all goods and services produced in an economy. And the services sector contributed 61.4%. Ang agriculture sector ay less ang kinocontribute sa ating GDP. That is something that we should be alarmed of. And perhaps this is also the reason why the Department of Agriculture, ATI, and yung United States Agency for International Development reported na ang average age na lang ng farmers ngayon is 57 to 59 years old. Is that good? I think not. Which is a reflection na ang onti na lang pala talaga ng mga tao, ng mga kabataan na interesado sa agrikultura. Sabi nga nila, significant number of young Filipinos do not consider pursuing a profession in agriculture. Sad truth, 'di ba? So, ayun talaga yung reality. And we cannot, in a snap, change that. But progressively, kaya nga ang title nito is Sprouting Up, which means it is a continuous process, we can do something. During the pandemic, this is what I realized. I realized that the real problem of this high age of farmers in our country is the lack of agricultural awareness. Aminin natin, wala tayong maririnig na bata na magsasabi na, when I grow up, I want to be a farmer. Very seldom. Mahirap tayo makarinig na, like, alam mo yun, parang sa grade 7 or high school pa lang, agriculture talaga gusto kong kunin sa college. It is because our country has built a negative perception for farmers all throughout the years. And this was reflected through, the textbooks na meron tayo nung bata tayo. farmers are negatively portrayed as someone who has, alam mo yun, yung mga gutay-gutay ng mga damit, yung mga ganon. So, ayun yung perception na nabuo sa atin through those years na we are seeing farmers in our textbooks. So, it goes beyond and it goes deeper na nasa kultura na rin pala natin yun. And that is what I realized during the pandemic. Na ayun yung kailangan nating i-break. We need to rebrand agriculture. We need to spread awareness kung ano nga ba yung meron sa agrikultura. Kasi lagi nila sinasabi, sa agriculture, magtatanim-tanim lang kayo dyan or what. That is true, but that is not entirely true na magtatanim lang kayo dyan. That's why during the pandemic, I started my social media platforms dito, kasama yung TikTok, YouTube, and everything, wherein I teach agricultural concepts, science concepts, those things. In order for the youth, kasi ang youth natin ngayon, nasa social media na sila, di ba? So, the best strategy is to go where our audiences are. And sa social media yon. So, I started sa TikTok, then sa YouTube, ganyan. And that is where Sprout Up I6111, which is my social enterprise, na in-entry ko rin sa Department of Agriculture, and it was funded by the DA, doon nagsimula to. By just acknowledging na lack of agricultural awareness is really the problem in our country. So bakit nga ba kasi agriculture? First, food and nutrition security. Ang agriculture, it is the direct answer to food security. Kapag sinabing food security, yung hindi ka mag-aalala kung anong kakainin mo. Kapag merong supply ang isang bansa ng agricultural supplies like meat, eggs, crops, vegetables, fruits, and everything, then we can say that a nation is food secure. And the accessibility, all of those things, agriculture plays a huge role in that. Climate action. Right now, as we face climate change and every environmental issues that we have, agriculture is deemed as one of the major contributors, like for example, in global warming, yung methane emissions ng mga animals natin, ganyan. So we need people who's gonna study on that. How can we mitigate or how can we lessen those emissions? How can we create clean and sustainable resources na pwedeng gamitin sa pag-produce ng mga agricultural products? Diversity in job opportunities. Later, I will present, I think, 15 na different fields in agriculture. And perhaps you can be someone who can contribute doon in the future. Research naman, in agriculture, ito yung gusto ko kasi research never stops. In every question that we ask, nandyan, meron ulit pwedeng pag-aralan. That is why on TikTok pala, perhaps hindi ko alam kung nakikita nyo ako sa TikTok, pero I give research advice sa TikTok and everything. So later I will flash all of my social media accounts. And of course, social impact. Social impact, ito yung inilagay ko sa dulo because it encompasses lahat ng mga nasa taas. You do research for the people. When you are in your job, you do it for the people. Climate action, food and nutrition security, these all points to the welfare ng mga tao sa paligid natin. And that is why agriculture plays a huge role in how the society cycles, how the society lives. And perhaps you are asking, ano ba kasi yung mga fields and opportunities in agriculture? And quickly, I will go through each one of them dito sa aking talk. First, horticulture. Kapag sinabi nating horticulture, this is the cultivation of fruits, vegetables, ornamental plants, and other crops in gardens, greenhouses, and even nurseries. So, ang horticulture, napaka-alawak niyan na field. That is actually my field in agriculture. You can study on fruits, vegetables, and even kung paano sila hinahandle, yung post-harvest technologies, under din yan ng horticulture. Next, agronomy. Kapag sinabi naman nating agronomy, ito yung nag-study sa field crops. Ibig sabihin, ito yung mga rice, corn, yung mga crops na pinuproduce ng bansa natin in a larger scale. So, it also includes plant breeding, genetics, crop production, and even soil management. So sa agronomy, mas pag-aaralan mo kung ano nga ba yung mga factors na nakapalibot sa pagtubo ng isang halaman. And yun, yung sa field crops nga natin. Next, we also have animal science. So in animal science, it is a study of animal genetics, nutrition, behavior, management, sa lahat ng mga animal products na meron sa ating country. Let's say, for example, swine, so poultry industry, sa mga ano natin, mga baka, yung mga yan, even hanggang sa pag-process ng mga meat and dairy products, nandiyan, pinag-aaralan yan sa animal science. Next is crop protection. So, ang crop protection naman, it is more on the weeds, plant pathology, and entomology. So, yung mga yon, ayun yung mga factors na maaari magiging kakompetensya ng mga halaman natin. And in crop protection, tinitingnan natin kung paano natin lalabanan yung mga iyon. So, here, if you want to deal with, microbiology, virology, or yung mga yan, you can absolutely go to crop protection. Next naman is yung soil science. So sa soil science naman, from the term itself, you're studying the soil. Ano nga ba kasi ang foundation ng agriculture? 'Di ba yung soil natin? So you study here yung lahat ng factors na nakaka-affect sa soil. Fertility, biophysics, chemistry, biology, yung mga ganon, lahat ng mga factors na related sa soil. Agricultural systems naman, it analyzes the interaction among the agricultural spheres such as animals, crops, pests, and even the soil. So, ito naman yung interaction na nila and how can you build the connections between all of these factors. Meron din tayong agricultural biotechnology. So, syempre, as we progress sa ating technology, like for example, yung mga genetic engineering, dito na natin sila pwedeng tignan at aralin. Meron ding agroforestry. So, in agroforestry, it studies land use and management that involve the integration of trees and shrubs in an agroforestry area. Ibig sabihin, ito na yung mga nasa matataas na lugar. So, paano nga ba tayo makakapag-produce pa rin kahit mataas na yung ating farmland? Next, agribusiness management and entrepreneurship. Of course, dito naman, ang isa sa mga gusto natin sa agriculture or ang pinaka-gusto talaga natin ay yield. Kailangan natin ng harvest. So, in agribusiness management and entrepreneurship, we will study kung paano natin sila ma-market. So, you will analyze kung ano yung market ng agriculture and how can you effectively sell these products as we innovate then new technologies sa agriculture. Next is agricultural education. So agricultural education involves the training of future farmers and agricultural professionals, including teaching and curriculum development. So of course, in agriculture, kailangan talaga nating mag-educate. That is one of the ways on how we can rally more people into agriculture. So that is why you can also do this if you want to teach. Next is agricultural economics. So this deals with the economic principles that underlie the agricultural production. Kabilang na rin dito yung mga markets, trade, and even yung policy. Next is agricultural engineering. So sa agricultural engineering naman, ito yung mga farm machineries, design, irrigation systems, and even mga equipment na pwede nating gamitin. So yung mga agricultural engineers natin, they are the one who is developing and optimizing yung mga ganitong materials na mas makakapagpadali ng trabaho ng ating mga farmers. Next is food science and technology. Of course, agriculture translates to food. That is why food science and technology is also linked with agriculture. So dito, kung paano pinaprocess, packaging, yung quality control ng mga food natin, that is under food science and technology. Environmental science naman, it involves the study of the impact of agriculture on the environment and kung paano natin yun mas masusolusyonan or mas matutugunan. And of course, one of the most important fields of agriculture is agricultural extension and communication. This involves the dissemination of the technologies na meron sa agriculture. For example, yung mga dinevelop natin sa horticulture, animal science, soil science, yung mga dinedevelop natin doon, hindi yan makakapunta ng maayos sa mga farmers natin kung wala ang agricultural extension and communication. So this deals with, going to rural communities and pag-i-explain ng mga information in layman's term para mas maintindihan to ng ating mga farmers. So this is very important. So why is it important for me to share this information? It is because it is a direct answer to the problem na inintroduce natin kanina, which is lack of agricultural awareness. Diba? It is a direct answer to that. The reason why I shared those different fields is that perhaps one of you right now, one of you are thinking na, oh, parang gusto ko yung aralin. O kaya, parang ayan yung gusto kong gawin. Na pwede pala akong mag-research sa agriculture, pwede pala akong maging engineer kahit sa field ng agriculture, pwede pala akong meron pa rin communication aspect kahit nasa agriculture. Perhaps you are that person. Remember this slide? This is one of the first slides na a significant number of young Filipinos do not consider agriculture. And I hope, katulad nga ng tema nitong Pasiklaban, na cultivating seeds for progressive change, I believe that there's a reason why progressive is there. It's because this will not be an instant na pagkatapos nitong talk ko, gusto ko na mag-agriculture. Wala naman siguro ang ganun, di ba? Or in rare cases, baka meron. Pero, it is a process. Even seed germination is a process, di ba? Yun nga, cultivating seeds, di ba? Hindi siya minsanang ganon, germinate na yung plant mo. And I know that through this talk, meron tong magiging fruit someday na may seeds na mapaplant at this moment sa inyo. And that someday, some of you will also have that mission to change kung ano yung meron ngayon sa Philippines. This is also one of the reasons why I started the Sprout Up movement. So the Sprout Up movement is a movement that will launch this year. And the vision of this movement is to rally different individuals using their stories to influence and also to encourage more youth na mag-venture sa agriculture. So in this movement, you will see stories of professionals in agriculture. You will see stories of the students of agriculture. And ayun, nakaka-excite. Kaya abangan nyo to. Yung Sprout Up movement natin. So my hope is that from this session, I was able to inspire at least one person to go into agriculture. And if you have noticed, agriculture is a really large and diverse field that you can venture into. And it is something that is really needed in our country. Needed because we need to secure our food and nutrition. Ngayon, ang tataas na ng mga bilihin. And we need people, we need players who's gonna stand up and challenge and contribute to this trend na meron sa agriculture. I hope that in the next few years, one of you will also have that impact in the field of agriculture. We don't know, maybe one of you will become the next Department of Agriculture Secretary, or someone who will be a senator or a lawyer who will really fight for the rights of our farmers. And I hope that this session somehow enlightened a part of you. Kaya inilagay ko rin dito na email me if you want to ask something about agriculture. I am replying to emails, if you want to know more about agriculture or to share kung ano yung gusto nyong gawin in the future or what, you can always email me. So the future is really bright and exciting. And I hope that this session, that this event has planted seeds in your heart and that someday it will grow. And I am really excited to witness and see the fruit from this talk. So thank you. Again, this is Arvin Joshua P. Berlongo para sa Bayan, Agham at Agrikultura.